Right, so in today's video we're going to be reviewing the Allett Cambridge 43 cylinder lawnmower. But just a quick disclaimer before we do start, Allett did not send this machine over to us. I purchased this myself, and as always, all the opinions in this video are going to be my own, talking about the good, the bad and the ugly, but I can assure you that most of the opinions are good because the machine is unbelievable. Now, I'll talk about the price of the actual mower towards the end of the video, but I want to start by discussing a few things, and the first of which is the actual build quality. And the actual quality of the machine is second to none. I mean, most parts on it are metal. This casing here is metal, the body of it's metal. Obviously the cylinder and the casing that comes with is metal. Metal roller at the front, metal roller at the back. These sides here are plastic, but it would almost be unnecessary for them to be metal construction. So all of that together means that you end up with quite a heavy machine. All that weight does come at a cost, financial cost to begin with, but then also in terms of the weight of it too. And when it comes to lifting it up and down, because it weighs just over 40 kilos, it is quite heavy. The weight of the machine can certainly be a deal breaker. So if you are old or you suffer from like a bad back or bad knees, it might not be the best lawnmower unless you have sort of a flat lawn that you can roll straight onto, because yeah, it does weigh a ton. But the weight of the machine comes in perfect when it comes down to one thing, and that one thing is how well, as you can even hear it in my voice, how heavy this is, how well it actually stripes up your lawn. Because there's so much weight in the machine, and the fact that it has a metal roller at the front and at the back just means that it leaves you with a really crispy stripe. And the stripes that you're seeing on screen now aren't from today, these are from 2 days ago. So the sheer weight of it, being able to flatten that grass down in a particular direction, almost train it to grow in a particular way, means that you can have stripes that last for longer than just the one day where you actually cut your lawn. It would be typical when I start cutting the lawn, the actual sun goes in behind the clouds. And that kind of leads me on to another boss feature that the actual mower has too, and it's this rear roller at the back. You'll see that it's split in two halves, and it's a split differential, which basically means when you turn the mower, one roller will roll one way, one half of the roller will roll the other way. And the aim of this is to actually reduce the amount of scuffing on the lawn. Now, bearing in mind, I come out and cut my lawn every 2 or 3 days, give or take, depending on the weather. You can actually see on this side over here that there are next to no scuff marks. I've just moved the mower out the way there. You can see those patches towards the edge. These are just spaces that didn't quite get a lot of seed when we initially seeded this lawn around about 3 or 4 months ago. But this actual strip here, where I turn the mower every couple of days, it's looking absolutely perfect. So it just shows you that even though it is quite a big mower on a small space, it's not going to do any damage to the lawn when it comes to manoeuvring the actual machine about. I'm not being funny, you're really going to get a better stripe with a mower other than a cylinder one. I've got a Hater Hawk in the garage. It's a fantastic bit of kit, a brilliant rotary mower, but the issue I've always had with striping the lawn with that machine is the fact that the two wheels at the front leave almost like wheel marks going through your stripes, which isn't everyone's cup of tea. Whereas using a cylinder mower like the Cambridge, the fact that it doesn't have any wheels, it's just 2 rollers front and back, means your stripes end up looking completely perfect. This goes for every cylinder mower really, but it's the fact that it cuts the lawn like scissors. You can see the pieces of grass that come off are absolutely tiny. I mean, that's a 30 square metre lawn and that's all that's coming off. You can imagine now if you had like a 300 square metre lawn, it's still not going to fill this grass collection box because it's only nicking the top part of the plant off. Now, something else that I really like about the Cambridge is the fact that it comes with 6 different speed settings from 1 to 6. And if you have seen my initial impressions video on this mower, I showed you those speeds, but I'm going to do the exact same thing now. So you got from tortoise up to a hare, and the speed differences are quite subtle, so you can really tune it in for the size of lawn that you've got. So let's show you the different settings from 1 up to 6. I'll do one stripe with each. So you can see obviously with speed 1, really slow. But if you've got sort of different shapes and corners and bends in your lawn, it means that you can manoeuvre it around much more easily. That's 2. So again, fairly slow, a little bit quicker. Now the next one is setting 3, which is something that I often use on the top lawn. And I use it on this lawn when I go the alternative direction as well, which I will do in a moment. Now setting 4 that I've just done is the usual speed that I go at on this lawn, not too fast, not too slow, Goldilocks zone on this lawn. Now setting 5 you can see really picks up the pace, a little bit too quick for this lawn. You see a setting 6 is like a race car. I mean, there's no stopping it really. What you may have noticed as well is the actual sound may have changed on the video, and that's for a couple of different reasons. The first one is obviously when you increase the speed, you're increasing the speed of the rear roller that's being driven at the back, but you're also increasing the speed of your cylinder. It's taking the safety key out, by the way, so I chopped my hand off. So this is obviously going to spin a lot faster, just to obviously match that speed, because if the cylinder was going the same speed as you increase the speed of the mower, you'd end up missing a few spaces across your lawn. So that's a pretty cool feature that it has as well. Again, I just wanted to point out that, you know, I've been up and down this lawn a few times now for this video. Like I said before, cutting it all the time, but you can tell that with having that split differential roller at the back, there's literally next to no scuffing. These little spaces you can see are where they've pulled weed grasses out. It's absolutely not to do with the lawnmower. So yeah, pretty decent to say so myself. Another reason why you might want to pick up a mower like this is the fact that you can cut much lower with a cylinder than you can with a rotary, and the Cambridge has a really cracking mechanism to actually change the height of cut, and that's using this dial at the back, so you can make the actual height cut much smaller, or you can increase the height as well. And the lowest cut you can have is 6mm, and the highest cut you can get up to is 30mm. And you'll notice that as you change the height of cut, it's actually changing the level of this roller, which obviously then lifts the lawnmower up much higher, and then you can obviously drop it down lower too. And one of the main reasons why I went with this model as opposed to one of the smaller Liberty models is the fact that in this window here you can actually dial in the specific millimeters that you want. It would have been great to have had little tiny indicators for each individual millimeter. There is something they have on the Sterling, which obviously gives you a precise millimeter cut, but obviously this machine isn't for professionals, it's just for homeowners, but you can dial it straight in, so it's got multiples of 5 you can go through, right down to 6mm. I've been cutting more recently at 15mm there, which I think on this lawn is looking absolutely amazing so far. I mentioned earlier that I've got a Hater rotary in the garage. The lowest I can cut is at 19mm, and even then, with it being a rotary, it's quite an aggressive cut, and you can tear a lot of the grass blades, particularly if you've got a blunt mower blade too. Whereas with something like this, it's cutting like scissors, it's cutting it dead short, gives you an absolutely beautiful looking lawn. And I've not yet had a lawn this good in all the years that I've lived in this house. Part of that is to do with the grass species, but another big part of that is to do with the Cambridge. So what can you expect in terms of battery life? Well, it comes with a 40 volt 4 amp battery. Now, bearing in mind that I'm cutting a 30 square metre lawn at the bottom and a 12 square metre lawn up at the top, it's not a lot of grass I'm cutting really. So with this battery, I get around about a week's worth of cutting, and that means cutting this lawn probably 3 times and the top lawn 3 or 4 times as well. So you're getting anywhere from sort of like 7, 8, 9 cuts, and that doesn't mean that the battery is depleted. That's usually when the battery's halfway empty. But what I don't do is let this drop completely to nothing before I put it on charge. Whenever it shows 2 lights, it's flashing 4 at the moment. When it shows 2, I get it on charge just to make sure I maintain the longevity of the battery. And one thing I haven't really spoke about, and I'm not really to be honest, is the grass comb at the front. Now you can see it's like a small little rake down at the bottom. You can adjust this so you can drop it obviously a little bit lower. I think it's preset as or sort of in its highest position, so at the moment on my lawn it's not really doing anything, but the idea is It's meant to comb the grass. It is something that I'm going to use possibly in the future moving forward. But like I said, I'm a normal homeowner. I'm not maintaining Wembley. I'm not maintaining, you know, Wimbledon, anything like that, or a golf course. So I'm not sure how much of an impact this is going to have. It's probably the best thing in the world, and I've not even touched on it. But you know, it's a nice bonus to have. But for me, it's not majorly essential, to be honest. Now, the next feature is one of the main reasons why I went for the Cambridge as opposed to any of the other mowers, and that's because it comes with the quick change cartridge system. So I'm going to take the safety key out, but to literally replace the cartridge, all you've got to do is remove 2 bolts from the side. Just put them to one side, don't lose them, and then you quite literally just remove the cartridge straight from the machine. Now, before I actually picked this up, I contacted a local dealer who had an offer on the Allett Liberty, but the 43-inch model, so not the one where it's got like set increments on the side, but the one which is, you know, pretty much the same machine as this, just the older version. And the one thing that swayed me towards this one, as opposed to that machine, is the fact that you can change it so quickly. Now, I'm not going to be getting out here, putting the scarifier in or the verticutter in every 2 minutes. Hey, there's a spider there hitching a ride. Go on, you be free, mate. You go enjoy your life. Don't be stressed about Allett mowers. Not for you. Surprised he's living in there. I guess that's another feature of the mower, you know, it's an ecosystem for spiders and whatnot. But I'm not going to be changing the cartridge every 2 minutes. I'm not going to be scarifying all the time. But it's handy when you do to actually be able to change it so fast. As far as I'm aware, to change the actual cartridge on the older model of this, like the Liberty, you have to take the side off, you have to sort of faff about, mess around with a few bits. And I think for a normal homeowner, it's not really the process you want to be going through. You want to kind of, if you are going to scarify your lawn, you want it to be as almost friction free. So the fact that you can take it out so easily and put it back in with, you know, ease is a major selling factor, to be honest, behind having this, because if you do have any other cartridges for it, you're more likely to swap and change between them. So I think on Allett's part, it's a really great feature to have added. And something else that I'm asked quite a lot on this channel, or I shouldn't say asked, I should say kind of told, is that the Cambridge is too big for this small lawn that I've got up at the top. And I think some people are quite surprised when they see me using a lawnmower of this size, cutting a lawn this small, but really, because of how manoeuvrable it is, it's not really much of an issue, to be honest. In terms of what makes a lawnmower too big for a space would, in my opinion, kind of be difficulty getting around the entire space, but as you're going to see now, the Cambridge has no issues at all getting around this lawn. I mean, yeah, I do have to stand on the wall here, but that's what the wall's for. And what I do as I'm going round as well is I've got the actual roller offset from the actual lawn, just so then I can get a really crisp cut along the edge of the space. Again, with that split differential in the rear roller, so he's just turning around either end. Even now we're in right up against the actual plants. It's not too bad, to be honest. Yeah, I've got to shimmy a little bit and I can't stand right behind it, but no one's going to die. And I've got a quite a cheap push mower as well, and arguably that's more difficult to manoeuvre around the lawn than this behemoth. Another feature that I think is really cool as well is the way you actually store the mower. So there's a handle on the side here, you just flick, and you spin the handle over the top, and you can literally just get the grass box and plonk it on the top like this. Dead easy to store. And if you are thinking of picking up a cylinder mower, or even, you know, specifically the Cambridge, it's probably not the only lawnmower that you have. This is my 6th or 7th lawnmower that I've got in the garage, so actually be able to store it like this to save space is absolutely perfect. And you'd think that storing a lawnmower is a really simple thing for a company to do, but with all the lawnmowers that I've got, it's something I've learned that it's only really Hater and Allett so far that actually have a decent solution to storing your lawnmower in the garage. And in terms of what my overall opinion is on the machine, I think it's absolutely boss. It cuts beautifully, cuts the grass like it's scissors. The stripes are amazing, the height adjustments are really easy. I don't yet have the scarifier cartridge or the vertical to put in there. It is something that I'll probably look into later down the line. I mean, this is a newly seeded lawn, so it's not going to need scarified anytime soon. But the fact that I've got that convenience of just being able to whip the cartridge out whenever I need to, the battery lasts for ages, it stores well. I mean, the only disadvantage really, I'd say, is probably the price. But if you can see past that price, if you can save up, if you can justify it somehow to your other half, then it's definitely worth picking up. Like I said at the start of this video, it's not sponsored by Allett. I've not been in contact with them about anything to do with this review, but I'm just a really big fan. I've wanted one for years, and do you know what? It lives up to those expectations. In fact, no, it surpasses them, because it is a cracking bit of kit. So yeah, hope you enjoyed today's video. If you are thinking of picking one up and you've got the money there ready to sort of bite the bullet, this might hopefully sway you over to getting one yourself. You might be watching this thinking, no, it's far too expensive, which, to be honest, is completely justifiable. So if you enjoyed the video, feel free to give it a like. My Instagram is in the description below, and if you're not already, feel free to subscribe. So yeah, finally, thanks for watching.